talking and I'm like trying to hear what they're saying. Hi everybody, happy Saturday evening live tutorial stream. It's been a bit of a rocky week here at the Beading Dreams, but I am back. I have recovered at least enough spoons to broadcast tonight and stay on target, as it were. Also, the good thing for you guys about my lack of spoons is that anyone who was on my son of a bitch, really no sound. Okay, do I have sound now? Did everyone just hear me curse before 9? Now I want to know. Because this thing says I have sound. That thing says I doesn't, but that thing always says I don't. Says I doesn't? That's terrible syntax. Anyway, must have been, okay, cool. We have sound. So yeah, so tonight we're doing a tutorial. I'm doing the Galaxy Ring. This is one of my favorite tutorials. It's also really simple and really cool. Like as far as ring projects go, I'm about to pull this up because I don't remember how much. Okay, 30 inches. Diane, what did you do to me? So yeah, so this is a really fun ring project. It doesn't take very much time and it yields a really nice result. So again, one of my favorite ring projects, Galaxy Ring. That's what we are doing tonight. We're going to be following Galaxy Ring with a live merchandise sale. I'm going to finish up the Rando Strandos, and since some of y'all have 50% off because you sat through my Thursday morning stream where I failed my speed run, I'm going to pull some other fun strands out as well that you guys might enjoy at 50% off. So just goes to show it pays to tune in every stream, every time. Also, I'd like to thank everyone for being okay with me not streaming for the past 2 nights. It has helped me a whole lot.
Here.
Who's here?
Heather.
Yay! Yeah, it helped me a lot. You can probably tell I'm more focused and have a little bit more pep and energy than I have in the past couple of days. But of course, and Heather just got here, so she'll be on stream tonight in person. We will have an in-person Heather tonight on her normal side of the table in front of her new shelves, which I didn't not successfully put up all of her new shelves today because I got 6-foot boards instead of 5-foot boards, which is not helpful. But anyway, okay, let's talk hello, camera. Thank you. Let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial. All right, you're gonna need 20 gauge wire, and you're gonna need about 30 inches of it. I'm gonna use 20 gauge sterling silver wire, but you can do this in sterling silver, brass, bronze, copper, colored wire, craft wire. There's no soldering in tonight's class, so you really can use whatever wire you want. You are going to also need one of these guys, and this is called a snap set. And yay! Hi, Linda. Hi. Okay, sorry. I have to go hug the Heather. I'll be right back.
Welcome home. Thank you.
There's pizza, there's salad. I promised Carol the cucumbers and tomatoes out of one of the salads because I only want the lettuce. The other one is up for grabs. Okay. Alright. There's also pizza, so you could just choose to eat pizza instead of salad.
Okay.
Which is a valid choice.
Fair enough.
Okay, so this little puppy is called a snap set, and so the idea here is this is basically a molded prong setting, and these little guys have just a little bit of spring tension on them, and so what I can do is I can take a faceted stone, and I have a little faceted garnet that I'm going to use tonight, and I can just pop it into the setting, and I'm literally going to like press the setting down on it, and it's going to hold it. And you can do all kinds of cool things with these. You can actually solder earring posts on and make earrings with them. You can solder them onto rings and make rings and with, you know, brilliant cut stone. So there's all kinds of cool things you can do with the snap settings, but one of the things that a lot of people who don't fabricate don't think about is that you can also use these snap settings in wire wrapping projects, which is what we're going to do tonight. You're also going to need beads, and they don't have to be sterling silver or gold filled, but what they do need is they need a hole that is big enough to go onto, whoops, avalanche, go onto your 20 gauge wire. And you are going to, I'm going to pull up my cheat sheet supply list. Okay, so you're going to need 4 4mm, 4 3mm, and 2, yeah, I guess so, 2 2.5mm. And these are all just round, seamless sterling silver beads. So I'm going to start by cutting my wire. So I'm just going to cut myself, like I said, about 30 inches of the wire. I know that sounds like a lot, but one of the cool things about this ring is the excessive swirliness of it. And so you can't get that excessive swirliness without having a decent amount of wire. Now, since the piece of wire is so long, the size of the ring you're making doesn't have a huge impact on the amount of wire that you're going to cut. Because there's only an 1/8 of an inch, actually, of difference in ring sizes. So, I mean, if you're talking about the difference between a 4 and a 14, yes, that's pretty big. But if you're talking about your typical size range, which is 6, 7, and 8, it really doesn't make much of a difference because you've only got 3/8 of an inch of difference in those sizes as far as length goes. So what I'm saying is your 30 inches is going to work for almost every size unless you are making something that's really for a really large finger. So 30 inches of wire. And I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. I'm actually then going to put my garnet in my snap setting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my garnet and I'm going to put it down on a flat surface, and then I'm going to take my snap setting, I'm going to invert it over the top of my garnet. Maybe I'm going to do that. Invert it over the top of my garnet. Okay, so now it's balancing on the garnet, and I'm literally going to press it down and I should be able to hear it snap. And I dropped it, but I caught it. Okay, so did y'all hear that? That's why, literally, that's why it's called a snap setting. And now my garnet is perfectly and easily set in this adorable little 6-prong setting. So they're really a super useful and handy device to have. What did I do? Okay, I like bumped my hand camera and it was like, no, I don't want to function. Okay, so there's my set garnet and it's in there mostly level. You can mess with it if you need to. No, I think that's pretty good. Sometimes there's also just irregularities in the way your stone is cut that are going to make it impossible for it to be level in the setting. But yeah, so there's my snap set. So now I'm going to take my 30 inches of wire and I'm going to thread my snap set onto the middle of it. Okay, so I'm going to thread it here and here. So the only thing that's mildly tricky about this is you want to make sure you go straight across and, you know, don't cross through one of these other ones, because then it's not going to be centered on your ring. I'm going to take it to the middle of my wire, and you can just eyeball the middle of your wire if you want. And when you've got a long piece of wire like this, I find the easiest way to do it is to just make it into a circle, and your piece, as long as it's free sliding, will automatically fall to the bottom of the circle, which is going to be the middle of your wire. Now, as far as tools go, I never quite got there. So you're going to need a ring mandrel. You're going to need round nose pliers, you're going to need a chain nose pliers, and you're going to need a wire cutter. Sorry, that one's a little jacked looking. It's one of the few we have at Beading Dreams that actually cuts, despite the fact that the handles are artistic now. So I'm going to decide what side do I want to make my ring. This is one of those that if you're good at this, you're going to be able to get it true to size. If it's your, you know, one of your first ring projects, be prepared for maybe the size to not turn out the way you wanted. But this one doesn't, once you get good at it, it doesn't have a tendency to shrink or grow sizes. I'm also going to take my round beads and I'm just going to put them out in one of my little lids here so that I can grab them easily. So it's 2 of those, 4 of those, and 4 of these. Okay. Just because it's always easier if you don't have to open the little boxes with a single hand. So I'm going to grab my ring mandrel. I'm going to decide what size I'm going to make. I'm going to shoot for a size 7 because it's a good kind of average size for selling. And I'm going to take my snap set and I'm going to rest it on my ring mandrel at the size 7. And so the key when you're making rings to keep them true to size is you gotta hold them tight to your mandrel, because if you let them do that, see, that's already gone up like 2.5 sizes. So you've gotta hold it tight to your mandrel until you've got it locked off, which we're about to do. So I'm gonna take my mandrel and I'm gonna grab my wires and I'm gonna bring both of them around the back, and I'll show you that in just a second. And notice I've got one crossing above and one crossing below my garnet. What this should look like on the back is this. So you should have 2 bands in the back. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to spin them around my garnet. So I'm going to spin one that way, I'm going to spin one this way. Okay, so now I've essentially locked my size, which is now a 7.5 because I was cameraing and doing other things. And then if you want to make a thicker band, at this point you can take your wires around again, and you want to do both of them. So again, one above, one below, and then around your garnet. So the idea here is I want to wrap these tightly enough that when I let go, they're not going to unwrap themselves. So now I've just widened my band and I've got 4 instead of 2, which is a nice look. Now I'm going to just start wrapping these around my garnet, and the cool thing about this is at this point you can let them catch up with each other and you can just wrap them around together. So you can wrap them using the 2 as 1. And you're just going to kind of build your wrap outward. And see, this is the thing with working with wire. You've got to keep tension on it if you're trying to do something that is, wow, well that's interesting. You got to keep tension on it if you're trying to do something that is, there we go, that's more kind of clean lines and tight, because if you let it go, then you're just going to get a lot of mess, which there's nothing wrong with a lot of mess. I am not going to disparage anybody for making messy rings. I just, if, you know, it should be a choice. I know it's not always a choice, but you can choose to have mess or not have mess. Now, at this point when I'm running out of wire, and I've got about 3-4 inches of wire left on each of my pieces, what I'm going to do is take one around so that once again I have them in opposition. So I've got one up, one down. Then onto each of these wires I'm going to string 1 2.5, 2 3s, and 2 4s. And this is what makes that little galaxy spiral. So 1 2.5, come back here. Nobody said you could run away. 2 3s. And again, those are the millimeter sizes. And again, you don't have to use sterling silver or gold filled beads for this part. They just need to have holes that are big enough to fit on 20 gauge wire. That's it. That's the only the only requirement. Alright, so again, 1 2.5, 2 3s, 2 4s, then let them go all the way down and bring this up over the top. Like so. You see when I'm just kind of spiral around the outside there, and then what I'm going to need to do is actually take this off my ring mandrel so I can anchor this. And because of the shape that I made my galaxy spiral, my beads are kind of wanting to slide down, so I just tighten that up a little bit there so that they can't as easily get down there, even though they did because I just pushed them down there like a dummy. So now I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to anchor it off. And where am I going to anchor it off? So I could anchor it off around all 4 of these wires. Well, hi to Corvus. Color beads would be an aurora like a galaxy. Jan's not wrong. Jan's rarely wrong. But what I do think is this is a little bit bigger of a spiral. These beads are kind of wanting to be over farther. So I think I'm going to do 2 more 4mm on each. And then I could anchor them off around all 4 of these wires, but I kind of like this sort of spread wide band. So what I'm going to do is after I put my last 2 beads on, I'm just going to anchor it around this 1 wire right here. We're going to see how that's going to go. And when you are doing anchoring like this, it's a good time to cut off your wire, because trying to get it through a tiny hole like that is not going to be super easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim this off. I'm going to try not to lose my beads, and I'm going to just take this wire and I'm going to wrap it around this wire here. I think I'm going to change my, I'm doing it. I'm anchoring it. So just use your pliers to kind of put it through that space between those 2 wires and then grab it and pull it around. And once you've got it around, then it's more finessing it so that it looks nice, but that's what you should wind up with. And you can anchor it around once or twice depending on how much wire you have. What you don't want to do is you don't want to cut it with the bottom part facing your finger, because that's going to make for an uncomfortable ring. So my favorite place to cut it is to cut it on the outside and then tuck it going upwards. So I'm going to trim it, and then I'm just going to grab it with my chain nose and bring it up and in like so. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with my other wires. So the idea is to kind of continue this sort of galaxy spiral. So we're going to see if I need to adjust the amount of beads on this one as well. You totally do, Jan. They're called snap sets. You can get them on Etsy. You can get them at Rio Grande. You can get them at Beading Dreams, but I only have them in 6mm. But they come in a whole bunch of different sizes. And I should maybe get some more sizes, because they are just ridiculously easy to use to set stones. Ridiculously easy. No, you can't hurt yourself. Already. Stop punching the cinder block, Heather.
Well, seemed like a good idea.
Okay, well, but it isn't.
There. Heather immediately found the book that we were looking for all day.
Where was it?
It was where on the shelf, where I looked.
Okay. I think it was just waiting for her return to reveal itself.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, so sorry, we have notes in a new codex because I couldn't find it.
Great.
Yes, the Heather is back. She will be on stream with us for the sale. Okay, so, oh, you're 2.5. So, okay, so I did wind up putting 2 extra of the 4mm on there to get this to come all the way back around, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to anchor it right here. So once again, I'm going to trim this off, and I'm going to try not to lose my beads as I take this through. Grab and go around, and again once or twice. I cut this one a little shorter, so I really don't need to trim it off. I just need to bring it so that it's tucked in the appropriate place. And then if you want to, you can put it back on your ring mandrel. Just give it a little wiggle to make sure that it is back to being round. No matter how many times I try to put that on that finger, it's still not the right size. And there you go. That's it. It is literally that simple. So if you don't like this volume of, you know, swirls in the middle, you can just go to the bead part sooner. You don't have to do the 4-band, you can do a 2-band, which is actually a little bit easier. And if you don't want this much swirling in the center, then you can use less wire. So you can probably cut down that 30 inches by at least a foot if you want to make your ring less voluminous. So that's it. This really is a completely stupidly easy project, which is why it's one of my favorites. So Galaxy Ring, thank you all so much for hanging out with us on the Saturday evening live tutorial stream. Of course, we will be following this up in about, it's going to be in about 45 minutes at 7:30, because this tutorial, like, this ring takes like no time at all. And hi, a bunch of people just showed up, so welcome, and now the tutorial's over. But seriously, incredibly easy, really simple ring, very pretty. If you want to, you probably have time to watch the replay before the sale, and then you can ask me any questions then. But we will be following this up with a live merchandise sale at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. That's about 45 minutes from now. We will be doing Rando Strandos, plus, since some of you all have 50% off from being on the stream where I failed the speed test, I set to myself I'm going to grab some other fun strands that you guys might like at 50% off as well. And of course, we do have a Heather back in the Beading Dreams house. We could not be happier that she's back home with us. And thanks, Corvus. Is that the link to this tutorial, or is that the link to another time I did Galaxy Ring? Because I've done, it says 3/ I'm guessing I've done this ring before because I really, really like it. Also, I'm assuming and hoping that I'm going to see everyone on the sale at 7:30, but for anybody who's not going to join us, I want to let y'all know that next week is the week before I go on my, yeah, right? The required items, oh, the supply list. Thank you, Corvus, you're the bomb. I should start doing that. I really should start doing that before every tutorial. Thank you. So yeah, next week is the week before I go on my Denver shopping trip. That means it is time to liquidate as much merchandise as possible, turn it into cold hard cash, so that I can then immediately go and spend all that cash, and probably more cash that I don't have, on new stuff. That means next week we're not going to be doing any tutorials. We'll be doing a week of live sales, except we will be off on Saturday because holiday weekends people don't tend to tune in as much, and we kind of want to go home. So next week is going to be a week of sales, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 6 to 7 on Wednesday, 6 to 7 on Thursday, 6 to 9 on Friday. No sale Saturday, and then the following week we will be dark. But follow us on social media for lots of posts about our Denver fun, and then the week after that we'll have unboxing and new merchandise. So lots of fun stuff coming up. The most fun thing is our sale at 7:30 p.m. So hopefully we'll see each and every one of you there. And thank you all so much for tuning in for, again, this really fun Galaxy Ring tutorial. So we'll see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream at 7:30 for live merchandise, fun, shenanigans, etc., etc. Bye, y'all.